right? You had to work on campus, and how was that
Oh yeah.
experience? And I remember he used to come home and he used to be really frustrated with the job, and used to be really tired because he had to manage work along with cooking food and then doing all these extra jobs in order to earn some money on the side to manage his rent and stuff.
From that section, they know that you have done some sort of research about the company, that you know at least some of their products, or you at least have some idea about what they do, or how why you want to be a part of them.
One, two, three, four.
Hey guys, welcome to this channel. We are at the Indian Egg Perspective, and we have with us today Dheeraj Mirashi. Hi, Dheeraj.
Hi.
So Dheeraj is joining us from New Jersey, USA, and he's a engineer at Inmar. He's a software development engineer. He started his journey from a small town in Maharashtra called as Achara, which is from the Konkan region, southwest of Maharashtra. He started his journey schooling from there, and then he went on to do his engineering from Mumbai University. He then did his bachelor's in engineering there, right? So yeah, he did that,
Yep.
and then he came for masters in UNC Charlotte for a master's in computer science, and then he went
Yes.
on to start his journey working here in Inmar Technologies, and he's working remotely from New Jersey. So, how are you doing, Dheeraj? Welcome to this
Yeah.
channel.
Thank you. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good. Yeah, thank you for taking out time and sharing your journey with us.
No problem at all. I've actually been wanting to do something like this. Help out people, or help out whoever finds this helpful.
So, starting with your school journey, you started in a small school in Achra. And describe that journey. How was the environment there? And you were a very good student, right? So, how was your journey till 10th standard? And we'll take it from there.
The journey from my first standard to 10th standard, and the journey afterwards, is totally different. I was a totally different kid. I was very studious. I used to sit on the first bench. I used to always be in the good books of the teachers. And growing up in a small town has its advantages and disadvantages. So uh, my family had a lot of time that they could focus on my studies. My teachers were a lot friendly to me, and they were a lot open to me. They had as in they could focus their time on me, as there were less number of students. They could I was able to perform in different fields. I used to paint, I used to act, I used to do mimicries. There were a lot of things that I did back then. तर वक्तृत्व स्पर्धांमध्ये असायचो मी. म्हणजे यू नेम इट, अँड
Elocution
आय वॉज
competition
देअर.
for people who don't know what
या.
Vaktruttva is like. Yeah. Yeah.
हेवी मराठी वर्ड.
Heavy Marathi word.
या. तर अशा बऱ्याच एक्झाम्स मध्ये किंवा परीक्षांमध्ये असायचो मी. इकडे सगळीकडे मी पार्टिसिपेट करायचो, आणि म्हणजे तो वेळ माझ्या बाकीच्या इंजिनिअरिंगचा पिरियड म्हणशील, किंवा when I was in Mumbai, or while I was working, or while I was doing masters, तो स्टार्टिंगचा पिरियड खूप वेगळा होता त्यापेक्षा, आणि खूप एक्साइटिंग होता.
That's really interesting. And if you're listening to his English, you would not be able to make out that his primary education was in Marathi. And the challenges of translating or transitioning from a local language, which is Marathi, some might have Hindi, some might have some other language like Bengali or Gujarati. But for people who are transitioning from the primary education as being Marathi or vernacular language and then transitioning to English, how challenging was it? And also, you made the transition from a small town to a big city, right? So, how that
Yeah.
transition was for you during that phase?
I feel like after completing my primary education, there was a really huge shift in my life. because I suddenly moved from a small town to a big city. That was the first change. I moved out of my own house to come to Mumbai, stay there, attend college. I was a trooper, so attend my college there. That was a big change, leaving your family behind and coming to a big city. There was a cultural change, as in the culture that I was used to back in my school was totally different from what I faced in my junior college. And there was this change of the learning medium, because
Hmm.
I was used to learning in Marathi, and learning science in Marathi is a totally different thing than learning science in English. But I feel like the only area where I used to lack was speaking in English, because my English was पु ल देशपांडेंच्या शब्दात सांगायचं तर माझं इंग्लिश म्हणजे ते तरखडकर भाषांतर पाठमालेचं इंग्लिश होतं.
Hmm.
I knew the grammar, but I used to stick to it, and that created difficulties while making conversations. I wasn't used to speaking in English. I feel like when it comes to people coming from vernacular backgrounds or people who have studied science in regional languages, I feel reading something and understanding it is not a big problem for them, because they are used to such stuff. Listening to the professor and understanding his thoughts or grasping to that knowledge is also not very difficult. But asking questions or raising your hand in the class and asking a doubt in English is very difficult for those students, because मराठीमध्ये न्यूनगंड म्हणतात त्याला.
Yeah, inferiority complex for people who
Yep,
are trying to
yep,
figure out.
yep. तर ते खूप असतं असं मला वाटतं, आणि इट बिकम्स अ हर्डल इन द लर्निंग प्रोसेस.
Hmm.
आणि अपार्ट फ्रॉम दॅट, इफ यू आर फ्रॉम अ rural background, as in if you are at least from a city, you have some sort of interaction while you're booking a movie ticket or while you're going to McDonald's. You are speaking in English, so there's that. But if you are from a rural background, there's the cultural shift and the shift in the language. So people from the rural background have to, I think, face both a lot of these changes when they move to a big city,
Mhm.
and it makes the entire process a little difficult. Apart from that, I think I specifically remember this one interaction I had with my class teacher. I had joined a class for IIT preparations, as most of us do after graduating from 10th. I mean,
And we are
after
laughing
as soon
because
as,
the experience was not really that great to describe. But yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
yeah. So yeah, I remember that scene particularly whenever it comes to transitioning from Marathi to English. When I attended that first lecture, and I was a bright student, to be honest, as in I was good at academics, and I wasn't the bookish kind of person. I was scientifically sound, is maybe the word that I could use, but
Mhm.
I was pretty good. So I was actually given a discount, a 50% discount by the class, for me to join it.
Oh, nice.
And yeah,
Like scholarship
and
kind of thing.
yeah, the scholarship kind of thing.
Hmm.
And most of the people in this class were not only from an English medium background, but they were also from CBSE and ICC schools. And I think I was the only one who was from a Marathi medium. Um, and that I suddenly wasn't the smartest one in the room, because I exactly remember what was going on back then. The first definition that was being taught there was a definition of radian, and I didn't understand a word of it. As in, I knew what R is, but I didn't. I wasn't able to in a circle what R is.
Hmm.
Like the
Yeah, yeah.
radius of the circle is R. But when you say radius, that it doesn't flash to me, or it doesn't come
Hmm.
to my mind that quickly that this person is trying to say radius.
Hmm.
For me, it's trija. And that changed things, because the people in my class were able to understand it pretty easily, and I wasn't. So this I uh, this developed an inferiority complex in me for some time. Then I had to overcome it afterwards, but I didn't continue with that class. So that was the first traumatic experience that I had about transitioning from Marathi to English.
Good that you didn't continue with the same class. Because IIT is not something that gives you good memories.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, in
yeah,
terms of education practice and all that stuff,
yeah.
it's a good university, good. I mean, all that is good. But the whole system around getting students to pursue IIT is something that I have my reservations against, and I think many of
Yes. And too much importance is given to that phase of life
us.
somehow, and that stops your growth in other fields such as sports or art, or you should, as a youngster, I feel like you should try to grow horizontally and not vertically. You should try as many fields as you can, and then you should decide on what you want to do in life. But yeah.
Fair enough, fair enough. And moving on from those complex challenges that you had to initially overcome, you went on to join a college that is near your house, like which was Kankavli,
Yeah.
which is also again in the Konkan part of Maharashtra, which is really beautiful place. If you guys haven't visited, you should definitely visit. And you moved there for your engineering. What was the reason to choose engineering, first of all? And how was your experience when you moved to Kankavli?
Okay, so choosing engineering was it was really simple for me. As in, if you come across, I was a pretty mediocre engineer when I graduated, to be honest. And if you come across any mediocre engineer, the common story that you would hear is they are usually forced into engineering by their family or by some relative who thinks engineering में scope है.
Mm-hmm.
So that wasn't the story with me, because I wanted to pursue something that is related to computer science. There was this competitive examination in my fourth standard called a scholarship exam. And my father promised me that he'll get me a computer if I crack that. I got a computer afterwards. I even had internet when I was in 10th standard.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was for me to, I think we had to check our 10th examination scores on internet, and that's when we got it.
This is like the
So
dial-up MTNL kind of a connection, right?
yeah.
Yeah, way
Yeah,
back.
so it
Yeah.
used to take 5 minutes to, yeah, dial up and connect to the internet. Yes.
Correct, correct.
And by the time you connect to the internet, the government server is already down, which displays the 10th standard
Correct,
result.
correct.
Yeah. So yeah, so this was something that fascinated me. This was something that grabbed my attention from really, as in when I was a young student. And I really wanted to pursue something in relation to computer science. I wasn't sure whether I wanted to be a software engineer or not, because I didn't know what was that. I didn't even know the difference between basic things like software or hardware. But I was sure that I'm going to do something related to computers, because the people that were around me, they none of my classmates had computers at their home. And I used to call them to my home and show them my machine, and it used to be really fun. Now we are calling it a machine, but back then yeah, so in software you usually call it a machine.
Correct.
But yeah, so that was something that really fascinated me back then. And there were relatives who told me to go for mechanical engineering, कारण त्या ब्रांचला कधी मरण नाहीये आणि ती मदर
Yeah,
ब्रांच आहे वगैरे काहीतरी.
yeah.
पण uh, मतलब I never wanted to become an engineer, but I wanted to do something related to computers and be a part of the new developing era that came with the internet. So that's how I decided to become a computer engineer. When it comes to coming back to Kankavli, there are many factors that came into light. The first factor was, as I said earlier, I was doing pretty good academically when I was in my school. But when I transitioned from my school to my junior college, I was exposed to a lot of things, to be honest, in Mumbai. And some of these things, they people say they shine, but they are not gold. And so I was attracted to these things. I have made my mistakes. It affected my academics. And my family actually decided that sending this guy to Mumbai was a bad idea. Let's bring him back home.
Okay.
So that was the basic idea behind coming back to a college that is closer to your hometown. Yeah, and I think majorly that's what played the major role into getting an admission into Kankavli.
And how was your experience, right? I mean, does the college matter in your opinion where you go because of the crowd or maybe the teachers and stuff like that? And how much of effect does it have to make you a good engineer or not so good engineer when you're going through that phase?
Okay, I think the education matters. The knowledge that you get, that's what matters.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that we have categorized colleges into colleges giving you good education, and we have categorized colleges into a category saying these colleges give you bad education. The thing that I would like to say here right now is, when it comes to schools, we have categorized them in a similar way.
Mm-hmm.
If you are a parent and you are going to send your kid to a school, you have a category of schools which come as good schools, or schools that pay good attention to students, and then there are schools that don't. But then you see some people from coming from these schools, like coming from small towns, coming from rural areas, who don't have opportunities, or who don't have resources, and making it big into technology, or whatever area of expertise they
Once they get a good
have.
platform, they shine
Yeah.
their yeah.
Yeah, so I think getting knowledge, especially in the era of internet, getting knowledge is really easy now. After I think after COVID, everything has gone remote. People are working remotely. People are learning remotely. So I think yes, as in since the complete society is thinking that the college is important, it may be important in a sense that it gives you good opportunities, it gives you good teachers, it gives you like good opportunities in the sense of good placement chances.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and having landing a good first job is also important. So yes, colleges are important, but I think if even if you are in a mediocre college, you can still hit big.
Hmm, that's really interesting point because I think if you are surrounded by people who are motivated, that also adds value to some
Yeah,
extent. But with this advent of internet and cheap internet access, you can actually get all the information. And most engineers, trust me, in the industry cannot work without Google or
yeah,
now Chat GPT, right? So anything you hit a roadblock, you have to figure out a way to Google it and find a way around it, and that's how you learn stuff. And to extend Dheeraj's point, it is how you come across a problem and try to solve it. That's the critical thinking part that you should develop in your undergrad, and that will help you get in a long way, no matter what industry you are in. Maybe architecture, maybe doctor, or maybe engineer, right? So it can be any field. I just give three examples, but this is, I think, very important critical thinking in any aspect of education. So
exactly.
extending that point, you went on to complete your engineering from Kankavli, and then you went to pursue CDAC, which is like a post-graduation diploma from a
Yeah.
government affiliate institute. What motivated you to go there rather than continue education or jump into the industry directly?
Okay, so while I was in engineering, first of all, academically, I was a really poor engineer. As in, my academics was low. The mistakes that I was doing in my 11th or 12th, I continued doing them in my engineering. For the first couple of years, I wasn't really serious about engineering, although I wanted to do something in computer science. I wanted to become a computer engineer. I wasn't really sure in which direction I want to go. And Apart from that, I think the culture also played a role in this. The people that I was surrounded with, or overall, you are a part of that community, and you follow the way of thinking.
Yeah,
uh,
it's kind of a herd mentality, right? You get
yeah,
driven into that like through social acceptance and other things. Yeah.
yeah. So I think due to those reasons, my academics was really low, and I wasn't into this bubble of thinking that uh, once I have this degree, I'm really intelligent now, and as soon as I enter the industry, companies will line up and give me jobs. I knew that I am weak on my knowledge, and I decided to improve on it. I think for the first couple of years, I wasn't really serious about engineering. Afterwards, when I became serious, I was really serious about clearing the papers, or getting a good score rather than getting the knowledge. And what I would like to say here is that unfortunately, our universities are the grading system is not at par as of now. Looking at a certificate, you cannot judge an engineer. That's what I'm trying to say. So deep down inside, I knew that technically I need to improvise, and that's why I decided to join CDAC, because I was also interested into getting a good software role, because I wanted to do development, because I didn't want to become a user of like a user of a technology. I wanted to develop something. I wanted to create something, and to land such kind of role, I needed expertise, and I didn't have any expertise back then. So that's why I decided to pursue CDAC, because what I had learned from my friends or from the people who were pursuing CDAC was that they were really focused on developing your technical skills, and also they were giving you several chances at interviewing at really good companies. And I wanted to be a part of that culture and grow with that culture. So that's why I decided to pursue CDAC. Yes.
Oh, nice, nice. So you went on to join CDAC in Pune, and
Yeah.
you then went on to start working at a company, and then you decided to come for masters.
I was in Pune for CDAC, and that was the time in my life where my confidence was really low. I had recently graduated from a mediocre college with a mediocre degree, uh, and mediocre grades. Um, but I remember giving that entrance exam of CDAC, and it majorly had you know basic arithmetical questions, and I was good at that kind of stuff. I was good at quantitative examinations. I was good at quants. So after that exam, I think my results came, and I was like, my all India rank was like in the first 200 or something. So that boosted my confidence, and after that I decided to go pursue CDAC in Pune. And with this added confidence, I think in the later years of engineering, I had also started developing my old skills back, the skills that I had honed in my school, like being dedicated to work, or paying attention to work. I had lost these skills in the past few years, because I wasn't really focusing on academics. But in the later years, I started gaining those skills back, and that helped me in completing my CDAC course successfully and with good grades. um, so that came with a confidence, and now I was confident about the languages that I was interviewing in. I was confident about the project that I had worked on. I knew it in and out. So I had this tactic of turning the interview towards the things I know. And I think I learned this when I was in engineering, because in engineering there were a very little things that I knew. So that's what my only option was, to turn the interview towards the things that I know. And so I kept turning the interview, every interview that I gave, I kept turning it towards my area of expertise, and I kept on getting good results. And that's when I was selected in a company that worked in Bangalore, and I worked as a software engineer there. It was also a
What was the name
very
of the
fantastic
company?
experience. The name of the company was First American India.
Okay.
It's an Indian company which supports a title insurance company here in the US known as First American.
Oh, nice, nice. And
Yeah,
you said the trick about interviewing, right? How was that trick? Like, can you give an example on that?
yeah, sure. So if you ask me a question about a tree, and I know everything about a goat, then I'll tie that goat to the tree and I'll discuss about the goat.
Got it. Nice,
So I'll discuss about the goat a little bit, and I'll leave it open ended there so that your next question comes about the goat.
nice.
So, for example, say I'm not really sure about this one concept in OOPS which you have asked me about. I will somehow try to turn it into something that I've already used in my project, and that may be a wrong answer, but it doesn't matter because the next question will be related to the project because I've left my answer there.
Hmm.
So that's the trick that I even now I use it during interviews, and like even in this discussion, if I'm not interested in talking about something, I'll
You're being too honest
if I
here.
don't
Yeah, yeah.
if I don't want to talk about something, I'll turn the topic to something else and leave it open ended there.
Nice, nice. So you're trying to guide me to get the right question. But yeah, that's really interesting tactic, and I think people can learn more from this tactic because I think it's not in an interview. Basically, it's not just your knowledge, right? It's how you navigate these questions and try to present the best self of you. At the same time, trying to get to where the interviewer is looking for a particular skill set. So you need to find the right balance in. Trying to get your answers aligned with what they're expecting at the same time trying to showcase your talent, and that's where your tricks come in and your practice comes in. So thanks for
Yeah,
sharing that. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And these tiny little tricks, they keep helping you in life. So
Mm-hmm.
there's this one thing that I used to do. When you are addressing a big crowd, you need to look them into their eyes to be effective.
Mm.
And I was really scared of doing that when I started doing it for the first time. When I started addressing the crowd standing on the stage, it used to be really difficult, to look in the eyes of someone and say something while you are on the stage, and crowd of hundreds of students is looking at you. So what I used to do is, there's when you are on a stage, there's usually a focus or a light that is pointing towards you. So
Mm-hmm.
if you look into that light for long enough, you will stop seeing everything else, and you will only be seeing that light for a couple of minutes. And
Okay.
when you start seeing only that light, you look at the crowd's face. Now they think that they're looking.
You're
Now they
looking
think
at
that you
them.
are looking
Yeah.
at them, but you are not able to see anything.
Oh, nice. That's a really nice trick. Yeah, people should
Yeah.
use it up. Yeah.
So yeah, I have many such tricks that I keep using,
Yeah, share
and they
some
have
more,
also
like
been
if
helping
you
me.
have any chance, like throughout this conversation, if you get any more
Yeah,
tricks
yeah,
you would
definitely.
like to learn from it. So now you went on to work for the company, First American India,
Yeah.
for I think 2 years, right? Two,
Yeah, I
3
think I worked there for 2.5 years almost. Yeah.
and then you decided to pursue masters. Why is that?
Yep. See, first of all, I had noticed that investing some time in education would benefit a lot going further, because I had noticed that from CDAC. I'm sorry. And afterwards, I started realizing that moving ahead in the direction where I wanted to go, masters was the right thing to do, because I always basically coming from a small town, so I have always had this fantasy of living in the biggest city possible, in a crowded area where people are running really busy
Mhm.
and all that stuff. Yeah, so I wanted to come to US. That's the first reason. Secondly, I felt like doing masters would enhance my skills a little more, and I feel like getting a degree, investing in a degree would be the best investment that I've ever done, because I think that investment cannot be taken away from me.
Mhm.
uh, because nobody can take away my degree or my knowledge from me. And that's another thing that I also wanted to brush up my knowledge in a couple of areas, and I felt like masters was the right thing to do.
You decided to fly. You did your GRE. You gave your TOEFL, and then you got a visa, and then you
Yeah,
decided to fly to US, right? I think it was Charlotte was your destination.
yeah,
How was the
yes,
day? Because we listened to one perspective from Jatin in a previous podcast, and we wanted to see your perspective. How was that?
yeah. Jatin was with me while I was flying here for the first time. Jatin and I we were roommates in engineering, so we have
Correct.
known each other for a long time. And while I was flying here, I think I was leaving a lot of things behind, and it felt as if I'm moving to Mumbai again after staying in my hometown for a long time. So it was that experience. Apart, except the fact that when I moved to Mumbai for the first time, my parents were with me. They helped me into getting uh, a room. They helped me organize my stuff and everything. Here, I had to do everything on my own. Apart from that, there was another big concern of cooking food, which I didn't know at all. As in, I couldn't even uh, cook Maggie back then,
Mhm.
and I think I've crossed that point, and I have come a long way when it comes to cooking now.
Yeah, he cooks really good butter chicken now.
Yeah.
Like if you guys are wondering what he means by that. So he has come a long way. Because I know that because I was his roommate when he moved to Charlotte. Sorry,
Yep.
continue. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was another concern. Apart from that, I think none of us, as in neither did Jatin nor did I, have had any like close friends or relatives in the US. And both of us coming from uh, that background of not having anyone in the US, like uh, a friend or family. That was another challenge, because I think UNCC is a great university in that sense, because you have student community there, which helps you into getting things ready. But most of universities don't have anything like that. So I think those the people moving there would face that challenge more, as in they would face it more as compared to us. But yeah, these were the main challenges.
And then when you started working on campus, right? You had to work on campus, and how was that
Oh
experience?
yeah.
I remember he used to come home and he used to be really frustrated with the job, and he used to be really tired because he had to manage work along with cooking food and then doing all these extra jobs in order to earn some money on the side to manage his rent and stuff like that. So that transition from where you're getting salary to now you have to start working menial jobs, or I mean, not that you were working on your skill set, right? It's something that you work on campus and stuff like that. Those jobs are important because they teach you really important lessons and how to admire work ethic and stuff like that. So that is important part of it, but also it's challenging. So how was that phase for you when you were going through that time?
Yeah, it was something else. So it's pretty common in the US, for students to work on campus. And म्हणजे ही कामं अशी असतात की जी आपण कधीच केलेली नसतात.
Hmm.
आणि या गोष्टी इकडे करणं खूप नेसेसरी असतं फॉर स्टुडंट्स टू अर्न मनी, टू सपोर्ट देअर ओन लिव्हिंग एक्सपेन्स, and in turn pay some portion of the fees. Um, but it was an entirely new experience for me because I was actually working in the corporate before coming to the US, and suddenly I was thrown into a restaurant, and I was supposed to serve people there. And that was म्हणजे स्टार्टिंगला मला असं वाटलं की मी हे काय करतोय आणि मी करायला काय आलोय इकडे आणि मी करतोय काय. पण ते टेम्पररी होतं. आणि त्यातनं जे एक्सपिरियन्स मिळाले त्यातनं खूप काय काय शिकलोय मी. म्हणजे आय हॅव स्टार्टेड अप्रिशिएटिंग पीपल हू वर्क इन द सर्व्हिस इंडस्ट्री, or who work at such jobs. आणि आय थिंक फॉर द फर्स्ट सेमिस्टर, इफ यू रिमेंबर, मी जेव्हा रेस्टॉरंटमध्ये काम करत होतो माझी पूर्ण दमछाक व्हायची. आय हॅड 3 courses. Apart from that, I used to work 20 hours on campus, ज्यात मी पूर्ण उभा असायचो. आणि त्यात मी अशा शिफ्ट घेतलेल्या की मी एका दिवसाला 8 तास वगैरे काम करायचो. कारण मला तो कमीत कमी स्पॅन ठेवायचा होता कामाचा, आणि जास्तीत जास्त वेळ माझ्या प्रिपरेशन आणि माझ्या एज्युकेशन वरती फोकस करायचा होता. तर माझ्या शिफ्ट युजली 8-8 तासाच्या असायच्या. 8 तासाच्या 2 शिफ्ट, म्हणजे जर कंटिन्युअस 2 तास झाले तर तिसऱ्या दिवशी माझ्या अंगात काहीच ताकद नसायची.
Hmm.
आणि तो खूप वेगळा एक्सपिरियन्स होता. पण त्यातून म्हणजे आता असं सांगायला म्हणजे माझे पॅरेंट्स वगैरे मला सांगतात की आम्ही खूप चालत शाळेत वगैरे जायचो आणि दिव्याखाली बसून अभ्यास वगैरे करायचो. तसं सांगायला आता काय नव्हतं माझ्याकडे. तर याच्यानंतर मी असं काहीतरी सांगू शकतो की मी एक सेमिस्टर ते पण केलेलं
Yes.
आहे. पण त्यानंतर इवन त्या पिरियडमध्ये आय थिंक इवन ड्युरिंग दॅट सेमिस्टर आय फोकस्ड ऑन अप्लाइंग टू न्यू ऑपॉर्च्युनिटीज. आणि when I used to come home after working for 8 hours straight, standing in a restaurant, I used to come back, prepare my resume, and I used to apply to new opportunities so that in the next semester I don't have to do the same stuff again.
So that was
To
so
make
difficult
sure.
that it was a motivating
Yeah.
factor for you कि भाई ये
Yeah,
नहीं
yeah.
करना है मेरे को next time.
Yeah. So yeah, so in the next semester I was able to land a TA opportunity which wasn't as difficult as working in a restaurant. And then the things became a little easier because then I had that work and education balance. I was able to dedicate some time, in my own development. And we started doing Netri back then.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Can you describe
and
people what Netri was and uh, yeah.
Yeah, sure. So Abhimanyu, I, Jatin, and a couple of friends of ours, Pawan and Srishti, we decided to develop a female safety and awareness app, which used to use Google geofencing to identify areas that are prone to uh, abuses related to eve teasing or crimes in a similar manner. And it was an Android application. I was majorly working on the back end, and it also helped me in landing my job, which started in the next summer. I think I started as a intern after that, as in we developed that application, and I used the same trick there. I knew our application from in and out, so I
Because we had this architectural discussion back and forth, like what was
yeah.
the decision, what database to use, what would be the structure, and that helped.
Yeah, that helped me and Jatin into landing our first jobs because we knew those applications in and out, and I used the same trick to navigate the
Tie the
interviewer
goat to
towards
the
the
tree
things
and
that I
describe
knew.
the.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a really new experience for me because I had never written code for myself, you know. uh, there's a good dialogue in the movie Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara. uh, the I don't remember the actor's name now, but he asks the other guy, ये शायरी तो तुम उनके लिए लिखते हो जो तुम्हें पैसा देते हैं, तुम खुद के लिए क्या लिखते हो? So that was the first code that I wrote for myself.
Hmm. Hmm.
And it was a really good experience because we were trying to build something, and that's what we wanted to do when we started pursuing a career in software, or when we decided to go for engineering. That's what we wanted to do, to develop something from the scratch, and that's what we were doing. So it was a really fantastic experience.
Nice, nice. And the app is still out there. I mean, it's not published yet, but we will be working on it sometime because things
Yeah,
got busy and we couldn't focus our energies on that. But we are definitely trying to rebuild that and we'll get it to some stage. So
yeah.
and then you started looking for jobs, right? And you described some of it when you were trying to edit your resume and you try to figure out what things need to be done in terms of applying and practicing for interviews and stuff like that. How did you go about that, and can you describe that process?
Yeah, sure. So I majorly focused on what I was going to say in the interview. We had a few mock interview sessions first, and Abhimanyu was also a part of it. We figured out each other's negative aspects or weak points as such, and then I started working on those again because I had already given a few interviews in India. So getting interviewed wasn't something new for me, but if I think starting something from the scratch is a bit easy, but once you are at a certain point after starting, you know, it's difficult to figure out what things you're missing and what areas you need to develop in.
Mm-hmm.
So getting those mock interviews, I think, did that thing for me because technically I feel like I was doing adequate, but I wasn't entirely sure which areas I needed to focus on. And starting the preparation with the mock interviews, that helped me into getting an idea on what areas I need to focus on, and I decided to focus on those areas, the technical areas as well as the non-technical aspects. The non-technical here in the US, the non-technical part is also very important. I don't think it is that much focused on when you interview in India, because in India, if you are technically good, the cultural fit thing is not that important in the interviews that I at least I have been a part of, because I have never asked whether I think I would be a cultural fit in a company or not, but I was asked such questions in the US. So I had to explain what culture I'm from. I had to explain what things that I like about a certain company, things that I don't like, or things that I think should a company should improvise on. Um, and I think in the US it's a two-way process. It's not just that the company selects you, you also get a chance to select company because you have that many opportunities here, and the interviewers also know that. So the companies that I have interviewed for, they focus on telling you the good aspects of their company, or they focus on they make sure that you know everything that there is to know about the company. Good, mostly, not bad. But I think in the US, in that aspect, the interviews are a little different. So if you are focusing on a particular company, I think you should know the culture that the company follows, and you should be ready to ask questions also in an interview, because that part is also very important, and what questions you ask also tells a lot about you.
That's really interesting. The last point that you bring up about bringing up the questions, and most people think, I used to think when I started, is like I don't have any questions, right? But the drawback of that is that you don't get the opportunity to showcase yourself. When you ask certain questions, they get to know what areas you are really focusing on, or what areas matter to you as a person, as an engineer, and that stays
Yep.
with them when they're trying to evaluate different clients. So that's another opportunity that you can use in order to showcase that you're a right fit for that role. And I think that is a very different aspect that people don't pay attention to when they're trying to
Yeah,
interview.
and apart from that, I think the questions that you ask also tell a lot about you, because they tell the interviewer that you have been doing some research on your end about the company, not just for the role. You are not giving a generic interview. It's not generic. It's not like you did a generic preparation, you applied for software engineering roles, and you are interviewing for this company now. uh, from that section, they know that you have done some sort of research about the company, that you know at least some of their products, or you at least have some idea about what they do, or how why you want to be a part of them.
Hmm.
uh, Say your agenda is to make the world a better place via software development, then at least you should know what the company is doing, and at least you should know if they are making the world a better place or not,
Hmm.
because otherwise why would you want to join them?
Correct, correct. I mean, you need
So
to align
your
your stories or your mission with
yeah.
the company's mission and try to create some questions, or align your answers in that direction. Once you started looking, and when you started, you got a job offer, right? You
Mhm.
got a full-time offer. You first got an internship, and then you got a full-time offer. Describe that day. Describe that moment when you got that, and the whole journey from your hometown, where people might not dreams that big, right? Yeah, because there are a lot of factors that affect them not to dream as big, or they are scared to dream that big. From a middle class background, starting from such a uh, uh, less infrastructure, less resources, to reach here where you land a job in one of the good companies in US. How was that feeling? Describe that.
That feeling was fantastic. To be honest, I was speechless, because uh, you take so many tiny steps, and when you realize where you've started, and when you realize that you have reached a certain height, it's a really proud moment. I still remember when I got the call from HR. We were in a face-to-face interview, as in a face-to-face conversation over video call. Yeah,
Mhm.
and that's when I was told that I was hired as a full-time engineer in their firm, and they're going to continue my employment till I finish my masters. So during the last semester, I also had a chance to pay my own fees, because I was earning back then. And that was really exciting, and it felt really well, uh, because I have had ups and downs in my life. If I look back now, I have had moments when I wasn't really sure what step I should take, or I wasn't really sure of whether I'll be able to fulfill my dreams or not. I had doubts, and looking back, I think I was able to put an end to all those doubts with that achievement. And yeah, I think I landing that job, I think it was for me, it was even a bigger achievement than completing the degree. I think monetizing your skills is the most important part of your career, because I have known people who had great skills, weren't able to monetize them, and because of that, have had a lot of difficulties in their careers. But yeah, landing a full-time job was that thing for me, that when you know that you've crossed the bridge, that was my bridge. It felt really good that day. I still remember, I think we partied.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
And when you described this day to your, like, when you got the offer and you described it to your parents, how was that? Like, I think they would also be pretty overwhelmed, right? When they
Yeah.
got.
I remember the day when I told my father that I want to pursue CDAC. He wasn't sure whether I'll be up to it. He wasn't sure if I'll be able to complete it or not, because back then I have had so much fallback in my academics, that he had lost that confidence in me,
Yeah.
and he wanted me to go and give exams for clericalship in banks. I refused to do that. Because I was fixated on pursuing a career in software, I told him that I want to do CDAC, and he said, if you get an admission in a good college which is in the top tier of CDAC, I'll pay for your fees. Otherwise, I won't. But after that exam, I think even he got his confidence back. When I told him that I want to pursue masters, he was really, helpful about it. He did everything in his power to help me to do that. And when I had finally achieved that, he was really happy. My family was really happy. My mom, my dad, both. Um I think my mom has this. She always puts my worst photos on her statuses. So somehow, yeah,
Huh.
and that's what she did when I graduated from
She
your
likes to roast you
Charlotte.
on a good day.
She, yeah.
Yeah.
If I send her 25 photos, she'll somehow find out that one photo in which I'm not looking good, and she'll use that for status. She
Yeah.
did the same thing on that day, but I'm pretty sure that she was very happy.
That's really nice. That's really nice
Yeah.
to know that you completed a full circle, and there is a lot more to achieve from where you started, and the journey still continues. So, all the
Yep.
best for that. And before we leave, can you give any parting advice or any thing that you want to share with the audience who are looking forward to, after listening to your story, they might be inspired, and what would that message be?
I think after all the failures that I have faced in my life, I think believing in yourself is the only good parting advice that I could give. Because after all, you are a story that you tell yourself. And if you're telling yourself the wrong story, you'll end up being the wrong character. So be sure to believe in yourself, no matter what happens, no matter how tough the situation seems. If you know taking the next step is the most necessary thing sometimes, even if you are not able to see the entire path.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Dheeraj, for sharing your journey, and we are really happy to have you here. And if you guys want to reach out to Dheeraj for any advice, any communication, if you like this story, just let him know that you liked it. Thank him for it. On his Instagram, it's Dheeraj Mirashi. That's correct.
Yep, that is
And
right.
if you can't reach to him, follow us on the Indian perspective and reach out to us. We'll get you in touch with Dheeraj. And that's it from our side. Thank you so much, Dheeraj, from joining us from New Jersey. And we'll continue having this series of people who have had miraculous journeys. They started small, they are here, and they are going big. So, thank you for joining us on this podcast, and we'll continue on the Indian perspective.